Hello, my guys. Today we are going to discuss Criminal Minds Season 18 and specifically discuss Rebecca and Tara relationship. But to determine what criminal minds are in this TV show, I'm going to give you a little bit like most common description. So basically, criminal minds, a group of criminal profilers who work for the FBI as members of its Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, using behavioral analysis and profiling to help investigate crimes and find the suspect known as the unsub. And Rebecca and Tara characters. Basically, Rebecca Wilson is a prosecutor well known from previous seasons and specifically Criminal Minds Evolution. She first appeared in episode called Securus, and Tara is forensic psychologist. So basically, they do work like within the same area and running into each other. So there is no surprise that they were dating for quite a long time. But it was first revealed actually that they were together in episode 2 of season 16, and that was like early stages of their relationship. And since they like work on the same cases, they got into this like huge psychopath called Securus, and his profile is like multiple different crimes and all related to like his past trauma. But Tara, she has like she has seen many depraved minds up close, and her psychological profiling skills basically is what helping her to see the exact like criminal they are dealing with, so they can like foresee next step or be ready for next step due to her skills and her insights into criminal minds. So this is why basically she is so vital for this like TV show overall. And Securus, the main figure of season 18, because he is basically known as Voit, and they were chasing him for quite a long time, but they were not able to like catch him because he built some type of network when all the criminals work on him, but it's not possible to link directly to him. Everything they were doing were linked to him, but to prove that, they needed to just get him cuffed. And they managed to get him cuffed due to Tara's efforts and her skills, and basically his profile is that after he was cuffed, all of his history, violence history, all his memory was erased basically, and that was because of a prison attack he survived. And he was put into induced coma. So when he finally, when they awaken Voit, they need to reawake his memories, and the only reason why they do that to convict him of his crimes, because they need him to be conscious and realizing what person he is. And the only survivor of his crimes and the witness was this woman they just showcasing, but he couldn't be like identified by her because she was under shock and she was basically not able to identify him first time. She was debriefed, and after that, basically after all of her experience being abducted by Voit, she was invited to meet him again, this time she is more ready to deal with it, and she was trying to give some chance to this investigation to go further, to reveal to Voit his past and to get his memories back. But all the procedures they were doing, basically all the procedures needed, like from showing him some drawings, showing him a lot of things that would trigger his memory back. But his memory is basically something like he can see partly some moments from the past, but not the whole thing, and he cannot just put everything together to understand what person he was. And he doesn't even know that he is psychologist, but he knows that this is what he was called. This was his ally, Elias. Elias was his first name, Elias, and Securus was his second name. They called him that way, and it just stuck as Securus, but his actual name is Elias. So everything they were doing to get his memories back basically not succeeded, but they were trying a lot of things to recover his memory. And Rebecca, who was prosecutor and Tara's girlfriend at that point, she basically was not so willing to correspond with serial killer Voit, with the suggestion of corruption and misconduct in the offices, she advised, because she basically advised us from legal point of view, because she kind of putting all the information that they could possibly use in the court when they got there. And she actually turned back to providing the information while investigating the case, because of how she hated to correspond with serial killer again. But finally they were managed to get this competency evaluation due to Rebecca's petition for allowing it, and to see if Voit is actually suffering from brain damage or if he's just giving like performance, like, you know, to deceive everybody. But this time it's like more complex and more like devoted procedure that is like aiming to show Voit a lot of like past related things and trying to, you know, recover something from his memory. But everything go wrong because he sees exactly the opposite. He sees like people working to get his memory recovered as bad guys. He sees them in his visions. He sees them basically like what they are not, basically, and he thinks that he's getting like kept at this place for some wrong reason. And after he was told basically that nobody there is a bad guy but you are, and he realized that he was behind all the crimes, and they even given him all the needed like triggers to get those memory back. Finally he realized that, and now he like seeing more consistent things about his past when he was involved in all the crimes he committed. So now nothing like you know, unknown for him basically, but he's still trying to put together all the memories to be like sure about what will happen next, because all his network he built basically is still working even though he's getting cuffed and he kept, and he's getting investigated like closely studied. He's still having all those people he like connected together to work like on future crimes, and they trying to like, you know, like breach his memories again to find out what will happen next and what victim or where next crime will be happening. So this time they were actually involving a lot of like people, psychologists, and they were trying to like see his reaction and basically the reaction of his brain on many things they showing him. And like the release of dopamine is something that would show if he has some type of, you know, like reaction to specific pictures, to specific things. And the release of dopamine is basically some kind of evidence of his excitement about certain things. Like if they showing him a picture of a family, and the dopamine release would like show you that he's excited about like hurting those families, and he did that in his past, but now he's not like the same person because all his memory is just gone. And they were trying to recover those with multiple like attempts, but when they partly succeeded in recovering his memories, the actual like problem was that people he like put into that network, who was basically involved in his crimes, somehow they were not really like, corresponding to what Voit says, or what he like trying to explain investigators. And another problem they faced was actually like legal side of it, like how they still keeping like this case and investigating Voit, and some people would Voit work with, how they do that, like, and how that aligns with like laws, because from that point of view it's not completely like goes well, because a lot of things should be like done with like with a close view of some type of people that know how all the legal things work, to make it like really appropriate. So after they did like partly recover his memory, Rebecca's ex returned to this department to work on the same case, but he was basically working from the like the opposite side, because he was attorney and he was working to get Voit's people out of this place. And one of those men who was working on Voit, he was kept and he injured himself, and he was sent to hospital. And basically this is the reason why this ex of Rebecca is here, and he is trying to like get that man out of hospital, and he's working like on this case as well, but he's not on the same like team, let's say, but he is co-working somehow, because he needs a signature from a director of this behavioral BAU. And Rebecca is actually a person who can help him with this, because he is close to that person, and he gets that signature pretty fast due to Rebecca's efforts. And after that, Tara is basically gets jealous because of how Rebecca is, so happy to help her ex. And since Tara and Rebecca, they are together, Tara has some pretty like reasonable moments to be jealous, because she was basically engaged to a man which caused her some personal distress, and after other women began flirting with him. So she had some past when she got jealous because of third party involved in a relationship, and that her like trigger in this relationship as well, when she sees Rebecca is so like open to communicate with her ex, just reappearing like so randomly. But since they were working together, for Rebecca it was not any problem to be around her ex, because all the things basically about the same investigation and nothing like really personal. And after that, as I told, she was briefly married but divorced due to her husband's drug addiction. This is like another reason why she broke up with her husband. And she is that protective person who is trying to, overprotect her girlfriend. But basically, this time there was no reason, because they just misunderstood the actual intention of Rebecca's ex. He was basically trying to introduce them to his fiancée, and that was his real intention. And after they found out that there is nothing to worry about, he invited them to a dinner, and it didn't really happen, them being together at that dinner, but they made it up and they cleared everything up about that ex. So now there is like nothing really happened. And after that, we got like the end of episode 6 of season 18, Criminal Minds Evolution. So that was the last point of previous episode, and I want to make this stream short because this is for like more content about this specific topic with lost memories and all that stuff. And we have one more project specifically about this topic. And because of this, Criminal Minds season 18 is still going, and every episode coming out every week. We get a new episode. It would be better to put more similar projects separately, because when we get more episodes, we can make more like about this season specifically. More content about this Criminal Minds season 18, but we have some more similar projects and with pretty the same subject, pretty the same problem in the center of it. And I will do that after this stream. And to get to that point where we just can end this stream, I need to just, do some type of explanation of every character, because I need it for putting into videos, which short videos. So as I said, Tara Lewis is an FBI forensic psychologist and supervisory special agent. She joined the BAU following the departure of Kate Callan at the end of season 10. She reappeared in season 12 as a main character. In season 16, episode 2, Sicarius, it's revealed that Tara is in a relationship with Rebecca Wilson from the DOG. Tara reveals that her and Rebecca are in early stages of romantic relationship. I need close my window because it's so noisy. Tara Lewis is an FBI forensic psychologist and supervisory special agent. She joined the BAU following the departure of Kate at the end of season 10. She reappeared in season 12 as a main character. In season 16, episode 2, Sicarius, it's revealed that Tara is in a relationship with Rebecca Wilson from the DOG. Tara reveals that her and Rebecca are in early stages of a romantic relationship. Rebecca Wilson is a prosecutor and a recurring character on Criminal Minds Evolution. She is the current girlfriend of SSA Tara Lewis. Tara, as a forensic psychologist, extensively interviewed several psychopathic criminals to determine whether they were fit for trial or not. She has seen many depraved minds up close and personal through her job. Her psychological profiling skills help her BAU get closer to apprehending Sicarius. Her psychological profiling skills help the BAU get closer to apprehending Sicarius. Voit, aka Sicarius, first introduced in Just Getting Started in flashback to 2005. Voit, psychopathic criminal accomplice who has been placed in a medically induced coma after surviving a prison attack. Voigt's history of violence has been erased from his memory. He actually qualifies. Ramona, Voigt's only known survivor, to see if they can find a way to unlock his memory. So he's the only person who can witness, who can actually trigger his memory to be recovered, because he is the only, she is the only witness, and she the only survivor. And the only way to charge him with being Sicarius is for him to remember that he is Sicarius. Rebecca hated having to correspond with serial killer Elias Voit with the suggestion of corruption and misconduct in the offices she advised. So she turned back to providing the BAU information while investigating the case. Rebecca petitioned for allowing to conduct a competency evaluation to see if Voit is actually suffering from brain damage or giving an Oscar-worthy performance. And they actually pitched that to Elias, and they suggested that he can cooperate with this procedure. So they just now they work together, and in future episodes we will see them working together, and he will be cooperating for investigations and to get other criminals cuffed. From bad guy to part of this BAU, and his personality is something pretty much controversial, but his character is pretty much interesting, given that this is a fictional character. He's pulling off his part perfectly. I mean, the actor, because he's delivering his character like in the best possible way. I mean, like, he's even more interesting than some of the main characters. And this is the part when you see a bad guy really more detailed than some of the main characters, some of the good guys, and you starting to empathize with a bad guy, even though it sounds weird, but you see him as not completely that terrible person, but you see some of that good sides of that character, and you can see why he did what he did, and you can actually just, see like some future for that character. And usually you do think that all the bad guys finally they will be like present, and basically this is the only way to get happy ending for being like a bad guy and being chased by police and finally get caught. But in this TV show it feels different. It feels like there is no really like only one bad guy, and they trying to focus on multiple things. And this is why I like this TV show, because of how complex and how like intertwining all the things are. Dave is a supervisory special agent in the FBI's behavioral analysis unit. And Dave is the best chance at getting Voit by pretending being Voit's father to recover his actual memories, to see any violent tendencies out of him. So basically, they did recover those tendencies which he was not really liking, because he was basically surprised that he was enjoying those things. But after they recovered his memory, his reaction was pretty much like anger, because the anger is the only way you can react to something you did wrong in your past. And till some point you was like living under the rock, because you basically like lost all your memory, and then finally someone just shows you all the things you did in your past, and this is of course triggers this reaction, which is like anger. But he's trying to actually cooperate and help them, because he can do at least some things better than he did in past, and he can some kind of make up things, but he cannot really justify, or he cannot really clear the air. He cannot clear the air, because there is nothing actually to clear, because everybody knows who he is, but he can still cooperate and he can still be at least helpful for those people who is working on his criminal network. And a lot of people involved, a lot of characters involved, a lot of like specialists, but basically the main figure is Tara, who is like the main brain behind all this, because she is a profiler and her, again, forensic skills helping to understand those criminals, and her girlfriend Rebecca is basically she is taking all the legal parts as a prosecutor. She needs to be ready to put Voit on that stand when they get to the trial. She needs to be ready for convicting him. But to convict him, the only way is to get him like consciously remember everything she did in his past. And this is why they all just, so like dedicated to this case specifically, because once they recover his memory, all the all the like people who were working on him, they are exposed, and everyone is gonna be again chased and caught finally. So this is basically the main information and the most common things you can find on the internet. And I told you that because we are preparing some other stuff related to memory loss, and I have another movie and some TV show with similar subject, but we will do it probably a little bit later. But this is like Criminal Minds episode 18, brief breakdown, and like one more probably video will be posted about this Criminal Minds season 18. And I see you later with another movie I prepared. And thank you for watching this stream. See you later. Thank you. Goodbye.